Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Casual KO. We're back after a week off of UFC, and we're breaking down UFC 310, Pantoja versus Asakura, which is a wild thing to say. Asakura coming in, just debut fight, just straight to the top. I'm curious what you guys think about that real quick. Obviously, Jared from T Picks and Alex from Profit Picks are joining the show as always. We're always together unless Jared is training, doing what he's doing. We're all together. Sometimes Harry from Pro Schmo is with us as well. He's not here today. He usually makes the pay-per-views though, so it's a shame to not see him here this evening. But I'm curious. I'll start with you, Alex. What do you think about Kai Asakura just debuting, making a title shot right away? Because I feel like Kai Kara France should be next in line for the title shot. He fought last in August. So that's enough time to recover from that pretty easy fight that he had from Steve Urseg. And you look at Pantoja's run here at flyweight as the champion, beat Brandon Moreno in a unanimous decision, although I don't think that was as like you see unanimous decision, you think that's a dominant performance. It wasn't as dominant as I thought. From that, I thought it could have been a split decision. I thought Brandon Moreno could have won, and then he fights Brandon Royval. That's a split decision, and then he beats Steve Urseg, who was ranked number 9 at the time, I think, in a split decision as well. A lot of people thought that Urseg could have won that fight too. So, what do you think about just this debuting fighter, and what do you think about like the title run that Pantoja's on right now, Alex?
Wow, he's been taking my money. I'll tell you that because I've been betting against Pantoja a couple times. Bet Urseg and lost. That was our last ladder bet, unfortunately.
Yeah, don't
And,
mention it.
yeah, I know what the UFC is doing here. They're trying to get into that Asian market. They're trying to attack one championship, that brand that they never mention. And I think this is a great way for them to do it. I think everyone's going to be betting Pantoja against this guy that's relatively unknown in the Western market. So yeah, I think it's a great move by the UFC because they know what they're doing. They're on the stock market now, so they only got one thing in mind. That's stockholders' money, and they want that to go to the roof. So they need to attack that Asian market that they don't have a foothold on, and this is a great start for them.
So do you think that it's fair? Do you think that Kai Kara France kind of got passed over, or what do you think? Because Kai Kara France just dominated Urseg, and Pantoja arguably lost that fight.
I agree, but that's the controversy of it. They want that. The controversy keeps people talking. These are the exact scenarios that the UFC wants. They want you to argue. They want you to moan and complain about someone else not getting the right shot. And it's all politics at the end of the day, and they're doing it at a great rate because people are talking about it. And I do think Kai should does deserve the title shot, but it's the numbers game. Who has the bigger following? Who's selling? And at the end of the day, who's going to grow the fan base more? Is it going to
Right.
be Kai if he wins the title, or is it going to be Kai Asakura? And in my opinion, Asakura has the bigger opportunity to build the market for the UFC.
Yeah, he'd be the first Japanese champion, and they were trying to build Tatsuro Taira to be that, and he obviously fell short against Brandon Royval. So, yeah, and to your point, New Zealand and Australia, they've had multiple champions, right? So, yeah, there's not much at stake there to throw Kai Kara France in there, but I think that that's why they threw Steve Urseg in there, just randomly let him jump the line. So, Jared, I'm just curious what you think before we start breaking down that first prelim of the night. What do you think about this standout in Ryzen making his way over here to the UFC?
I mean, I think a title shot in your debut, I mean, I don't care who you are. I do think that's a little nuts, but I mean, hey, they obviously see something in him. I mean, rightfully so. I mean, the guy is a very, very good fighter. He's got a very fan friendly style, like, versus Pantoja, who isn't always super fan friendly of a style. I mean, this dude puts on the kind of fights that people want to see. So they're obviously seeing something in him. The guy, he's a solid fighter. It's gonna be a good fight. You got Japan top team versus American top team.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's another narrative too that I didn't even think about, but I'm just interested to see how it goes. I feel like it goes one of two ways, and obviously it's easy to say that because there's going to be one winner out of the two guys, but I'm not going to get too much into it right now. Because obviously that's the last fight of the night. But Alex, are you sharing the screen for the picks right now? Yeah. Go ahead and pull it up. Let's get to that first fight of the night then, which is going to be Kennedy and Nzechukwu, which is a wild favorite against Lucas Brzeski. And in normal fashion, I will start this off. These first two fights of the night, man, the odds have gotten away. These are insane odds for these first two fights. I understand Brzeski's not like this badass dude, but neither is Kennedy, man. Look at his last few fucking fights. Like the two wins that he has in his last five, those guys aren't in the UFC anymore unless Iwan Kutalaba still is. I thought that he got cut. Devin Clark absolutely isn't. Dustin Jacoby just got knocked out by someone that we're going to talk about later, and Dominic Reyes. And then Oven St. Preux beat him. So, I mean, it's just nuts to see this dude as like a minus 650, 700, whatever he is right now. It doesn't make any sense. He should definitely win this fight, but I wouldn't hate anyone taking Brzeski because Brzeski is one of those guys that will go out there and actually fight. He's not a quitter. He usually when he wins these fights, he's outlasting people. And Kennedy kind of seems like a pussy to me. Like for this weight class, he's moved up from 205 to heavyweight. He's a big dude, right? He's a giant guy at 6'5", but Brzeski's 6'4". So there's not like a physical advantage for him. There's not much of an age. There's really no age gap at all. They're within a month of birthdays and years. I just don't get this line, man. For the sake of this show, I'll take Brzeski. I this is a stay away spot. This is not a spot that you want to bet unless you're betting the dog or you're taking Nzechukwu by some kind of method and round. Because I would imagine that his sub line is crazy, his knockout line's crazy. It's dog or pass for me on this, but I'm leaning pass. And I usually don't say that, but I gotta say it here. Jared, what do you think about this first fight?
This is absolutely a pass for me. I mean, I don't think Bresky's any good. I really don't think he's even close to UFC level. I think Kennedy is like entry level UFC, but yeah, realistically, Kennedy should probably run through this dude. But I mean, I won't be the slightest bit surprised if he doesn't. So definitely want zero to do with this fight. I'll say Kennedy KO round one. Wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't happen. Really don't care either way. But yeah, let's go Kennedy.
Yeah, I think that's the most likely outcome. But like I said, just for the sake of this and just being a little bit different, keeping those Brzeski tickets at least in the back of your mind wouldn't be crazy at these odds. If this was, I think that this line should be like minus 350 for Kennedy, something like that, right? But people just have it in their head that Brzeski is just horrible. I think he's got the dog in him more so than in Nzechukwu, but I'm curious what you think too, Alex.
Well, funny, Kennedy moves up the heavyweight and he's still bigger than Lucas Brzeski. Yeah, I think it's a close fight. The line is wide. But I do like a pick on this fight. I like the over 1.5 here. I saw Kennedy kind of struggling with Chris Barnett. I had him first round knockout in that fight. But he made me sweat, and he barely even got it done. I think the low volume is risky, especially if we're going to a decision here against Lucas, who's a little bit more high volume. But yeah, this is a 1-800 gambler. I'm going to go with the over. I actually think this could be a split decision with Kennedy having some of the bigger moments, but Lucas having the volume. So definitely a 1-800 gambler. I'm going to go Kennedy by decision. Hot pick.
Minutes versus moments for Nzechukwu here. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's a bad, I don't think any of us have a bad take on this, but it's wild. We'll move to the second fight of the night, which the odds are even crazier in this one. And I understand who's fighting who. You've got Clay Guida, a 42-year-old man that's a union carpenter fighting Chase Hooper, who's 25 and seeming to get exponentially better every time that he steps in there. But minus 1,000, minus 1,150 is what I'm seeing some places. Fucking insane. And the narrative is that these two grappled already. And, they're both kind of grapplers by trade. But Guida's a wild man. Chase Hooper's the opposite of a wild man. It's a fist fight. It's not a grappling match. It's not jujitsu. Wild, wild odds here. Alex, go ahead and start this one off.
The odds just jumped out to me right away. I almost wanted to auto bet Guida in this situation, but he only has one path to victory, in my opinion. Maybe two if you include the fluke knockout, which I don't think is going to happen. But he has to go back to his roots, stay on that bicycle, and get the high volume going, in and out striking. And even then, he has a low chance to win. But I think his only path to victory here is the decision. I might throw a little bit of a punt on Guida by decision only because really think he could get it done if he keeps it at distance, uses a lot of leg kicks, and doesn't get knocked out. But boy, is it hard not to go with Chase Hooper here. After that show out against Borshev,
Borshev is
he's
so chinny though.
I know, but he showed a lot of IQ improvements using the takedown, the setup, the hands, making them guess about the takedown while using the hands. And his hands have improved since he got knocked out by Steve
Right.
Garcia. He's really improved. And, I'm not the biggest fan of Chase Hooper. I'll be the first one to jump and fade him. I just don't think this is the spot. If you're going to bet Guida, bet him decision only. So if he does get knocked out or finished, you get your money back. But official pick, I'll go with the repeater. I think Clay's not going to have the IQ, and I think Clay's going to grapple with Chase, and he's going to get caught in something.
Yeah. All
We'll
right.
say what you
Well,
want.
Jared, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't care who Chase Hooper's fighting. I can't take. I would never take him at -1,000. I wouldn't even try to figure out a prop on him. Obviously they had that grappling match where he caught him in a calf slicer. And the beginning of his UFC career, I was looking at him as someone that's sub or bust because at that time that's what he was. But that when he lost to Steve Garcia, there was definitely a shift in him, and he really honed in on the striking. I mean, he's looking sharp. He's actually using his length. The guy's 6'1". Now he's figuring out, hey, you've got a long ass jab. Let's try to keep people at the end of your punches. He's looked good lately, but I don't want to short sell him, but I don't want to give him too much credit because if you look at, he has 6 wins in the UFC. Two of those guys are still in the UFC. So, he's looked really good against guys that probably aren't the highest level, especially in the striking department, like Jordan Levitt. But of course, his last fight against Slava, who's supposed to be some really good kickboxer, didn't look like it that night. It's just I can't get behind him with this number. And I know Clay Guida's older, he's smaller, he's slower, but I think he's a little bit stronger, that's for sure. And I mean, he's a wild man. He comes out, he throws a lot more hooks than he does straight. He's not the kind of guy that's going to have an in and out style. And an in and out style wouldn't work against someone with that size difference like Chase Hooper. This dude's a blitzer. He's going to come out hot, try to blitz his way into takedowns. Could get himself in trouble there, but this dude, he knows how to make a fight close. And I don't know. I don't care who Chase Hooper's fighting. I'm not taking the dude at -1,000. Clay Guida, 42 years old, a shit ton of UFC fights, like well over 30. Yeah, I'm just gonna definitely not a great pick, but I'm gonna side with the vet here. I'm gonna take Clay Guida by decision. Throw something small on it. The line is just like I'm not good enough to stay away from it. So I'll throw
Yeah.
like probably little $25 or something on Guida to get it done. But in reality, Hooper should be able to take care of business here, but take a shot on Guida. One more ride for the old man.
Yeah, it sounds like you're thinking about this one the same way that I'm thinking about that first fight of the night, where it's just like, yeah, they're putting you in a position to where it's just unbettable almost. But if you're going to try to
Right.
bet something, you got to go for the dog and particularly some kind of method of some kind. But as far as this one goes, man, yeah, I agree with everything that both you guys say. As far as Guida goes, he's got a legitimate job outside of this. He's got a great job as a union carpenter outside of this. And that's I mean, that's money. That's like money that you can retire on. It's smart of him to do this. I don't know how invested he is in his career in the UFC. Obviously, he's a dude that's wanting to go out there and have a story or two to tell to his fucking union boys out there. Be like, yeah, I was fucking 42. I beat the shit out of this 25-year-old. The thing is, Chase Hooper, he has improved his strikes. He has shown higher fight IQ, like Alex said. And the way that I would take Hooper, and the only way that I think that I would bet this, is Hooper knockout round 2 or 3 with ground and pound because he's shown that he can control on the ground, and he's definitely the better jiu-jitsu guy than Guida is. I just don't know how much stronger Guida is than Hooper. That old man strength is a thing, especially for somebody as fit as Guida is. But yeah, Hooper, I don't think you can do because on FanDuel they offer the combo rounds where you can take 1 and 2 or 2 and 3. For the 5 round fights, they'll do 1-2, 1-2-3, 2-3, 2-3-4, and so on. But with if you're going on FanDuel, take Hooper, knockout, round 2 or 3, and that should be a nice line. And it gives you a little bit of insurance. The most likely outcome is the Chase Hooper sub, but that's probably like minus 350, something like that. You pulled it up earlier, Alex. I didn't catch the actual line, but I'm
Minus
sure it's in.
150.
What is it?
Minus 150.
Minus 150 is not bad. Um, but that's not something you can parlay up, I don't think. But yeah, I'd like to take that round 2 and 3 knockout for Hooper with probably ground and pound, unless Guida gets in there and he's just fucking measuring dick sizes in here and trying to see what happens. And Hooper, who's a lot more technical, can catch him. But yeah, give me that 2 and 3 knockout for Hooper. Let's move on up. And Jared, this is your first fight to take. Michael Chiesa versus Max Griffin. A couple of old dudes throwing down. Max Griffin, actually the older of the two, 39 to Michael Chiesa's 37. I hate this fight. It's a weird one. It's a weird one to pick. I hear a lot of people on Chiesa, but I'm curious what you guys think. Jared?
Right there with you. I hate this fight. I don't want anything to do with it. I mean, both these guys are getting near the finish line. Max Griffin, he's been 50-50 in the UFC. At least Chiesa is batting over 500. This is just, it's a fight where you got a guy that's a specialist versus a guy that's not really special at anything. Um, I'd say Griffin is well rounded, but he's not well rounded. He's just rounded. He got a round game. He's got a little bit of everything, but there's no area that he really, really excels in or that he's super dangerous in. Chiesa, obviously the jiu-jitsu specialist. It's a weird fight. I don't want anything to do with it. I'll say Chiesa does Chiesa things and finds a sub in the second round.
Yeah, it's not a bad call at all. I'm just so surprised at how many people are on Chiesa. I would imagine Chiesa's the favorite now, correct,
Not sure.
Alex?
Let's find out.
Let's find out. Because, yeah, I would think he would be because I've heard so many people talking about how they have
Starting to
Chiesa.
flip. Yeah, it's starting to flip. You're right.
Okay, so what are we at right now at the
Even
moment
right
of
now?
recording here?
About even.
So it's like, let's say minus 115, minus 115, just for the sake of the show here on December 3rd, a nice Tuesday evening. Yeah, dude, I think the books had this right where they opened it, man. Griffin's more gritty. I've never been too high on Chiesa. Both these guys, we have a 20-10 record for Griffin and a 17-7 record for Chiesa. Those are the same records. That's the same record, right? But when I see Griffin fight, I mean, he's going like he's making a really good account of himself against people like Michael Morales, right? Michael Morales is a very fucking good fighter. But then you also have the losses, these 3 losses that you see for Chiesa, Vincente Luque, Sean Brady, and then Kevin Holland. So that's a solid level of competition for both these guys. I think that Chiesa's just he's out the door in this. But the thing is, he's picking his fights at this point. He's sitting on the desk at the UFC. He's like, yeah, I think I can beat this guy. So what does he see in Griffin that he thinks he can beat? I just don't see it. I've never been a fan of Chiesa. I don't really like a lot of these guys that train with, the Philly guys, and I have nothing against Philly, but I mean, Chiesa's out of Spokane, Washington, but he trains with Paul Felder. Paul Felder's a Philly guy through and through. These guys are jujitsu nerds, in my opinion, in the UFC, right? I think Max Griffin's just got that grit. I think he could potentially retire after this fight, but I gotta go Griffin here, especially if he ends up closing as a dog. Give me Max Griffin. Give me a decision where he just makes Chiesa just look stupid out there. Alex, what do you think?
I'm right with you, Ryan. I saw this fight and I love Griffin, 100%. He's gonna be winning all the minutes on the feet, in my opinion. Chiesa let me down in his last fight. I did bet him against Ferg, but he didn't throw a strike on the feet. He was very hesitant on the feet.
He was getting beat up a little bit on the feet by Ferguson.
I agree with you, and that's a red flag. So he has one path to victory, and that's out wrestling Griffin. And can he? Absolutely. Matt, I mean, Chiesa is 100% the better wrestler in this fight, but and I know Max can lay on his back for a while. I mean, look at that Mike Morales fight. We could see that all over again. But I truly believe that Griffin should be the dog here. At dog odds, he's 100% auto bet in my book. And every minute he's on the feet, his odds are going to get worse. So I'm going to go Griffin to win a decision here. I am nervous about the politics. I am nervous about the wrestling. But yeah, I'm happy to see that line flip because I didn't want to lay juice on him as a favorite against a younger guy. But yeah, this is a good spot. I like Griffin. I think he's fought the better guys in the UFC too, to be honest. Some of these losses don't look too bad either.
Right. Yeah, I think that Max Griffin has the better losses than Chiesa does, to be honest. But I mean,
One
when
thing I
Chiesa
will,
lost to Brady, that was before he went out there and got knocked out by Bilal Muhammad, right? So that's not a great look, unless I'm forgetting the timeline here. But yeah, dude, it's tough to go with Chiesa in this spot, especially if he's a favorite. Um, this could be a pick 'em though. This could be a pick 'em. If it was a pick 'em, who are you picking there, Alex?
Still Griffin, but at minus 150, I wasn't touching it. But at dog odds, I'm very happy to take a chance with Griffin. You could even, it's a good arbitrage spot too because first couple minutes going to be standing. He's going to be minus 200 until a takedown. So if you guys are looking for to make quick flips like you do on your meme coins, that's a quick flip.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of meme coins, you guys have any XRP in your portfolios there?
Sure do.
Good.
sure
Good.
don't.
Well, you should get into it, Jared.
I don't know
Buy like
anything about that
buy like
shit, dude.
$100 worth. Don't even think about it.
Yeah, dude, if you gamble, fucking buy some XRP. That's where it's at right now.
I like to
Uh,
gamble on things that I know about.
well, it's an investment. And by the way, don't do it this week. Maybe wait until next week or next month when it drops down because it spiked up 400% this last week.
Could get
Um,
worse.
what's that?
Could get worse.
It could get worse, but it's not going to
Be
stay that
$5 in a
high.
month.
So
Last
what is
time
that
that
on
shit
like
went up to
the?
$3.
Would I go on like that Robinhood app and fucking I could find it
Use
there?
Coinbase.
You can get
Okay.
it on Robinhood.
You can
Well,
get it on
wasn't
Robinhood, but I
Robinhood
would use
fucking?
Coinbase.
Wasn't Robinhood like kind of dicking people about getting their money out? I remember seeing something about that.
Yeah, the only time I ever really made money on Robinhood was buying Dogecoin at 0.0003 cents, and then it went up to like 54 cents, and I cashed that shit out right away. But yeah,
Smart.
it's I would go with Coinbase for any of the crypto fans out there. But this isn't a finance show. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, dude, it's definitely it's like gambling, but it's a little more safe long term. Moving on to the next fight, and this is mine to take first. Cody Durden versus Joshua Van. Interesting matchup for sure because Cody Durden's been looking great lately. Um, man, Joshua Van, I love this dude. I don't know what it is. I like him a lot. He's tiny though. He's so small, and it's tough to get behind him in this spot, especially if Cody Durden is the dog. I don't want to bet on a bunch of dogs on this card because it is a pay-per-view. We do have the old gloves, so that does make dogs a little bit more alive. But Cody Durden, you know, this guy comes out to fight. Josh Van does the same thing, but he's more technical. He's very well-rounded. Cody Durden, I see, is more of a wrestling, grappling kind of specialist. But Joshua Van, his takedown defense and even his offensive takedowns are fine. And I think that it's enough here to hold off Durden. I just don't like this spot. I'd like to see this come down a little bit. What I'm seeing on Tapology right now, plus 135 for Durden, minus 165 for Van. I don't know what the live odds are right now, but I got to go Van here, probably by decision. I don't think that he knocks out Durden, but I think that a Van decision spot is nice. Jared, what do you think?
I love this fight. This is going to be a banger. I mean, obviously it's hard to get fight of the night when you're one of the early fights because so much shit always ends up happening afterwards. But this is a total contender for fight of the night. Love everything about it. I like both these guys a lot. Joshua Van is really, really good boxing. Excuse me, but he's not one of those guys that he doesn't just headhunt. You know, he mixes it up. He's got good body work. And one thing I like about him, he's got good eyes. Like defensively, he sees shots coming well. He knows how to kind of roll with the punches. I mean, the dude's real, real solid on his feet. And much like Durden, this dude doesn't get deterred from anything. You hit him hard, he's perfectly fine with a firefight. Just one thing with Van, he does so far has shown good takedown defense. I definitely still have some question marks about his ground game, and those very well could get answered here in this fight. Cody Durden's another dude I'm a real big fan of. You know, how do you not like the guy? He fights hard and he fights often. Those are two things you got to love. His wrestling, grappling, it's definitely high level, but he's not one dimensional. He's not just looking for that one path. On his feet, the guy is very aggressive, and honestly, every fight you just see it. The guy fights with a lot of confidence. He really, really believes in himself, and he's the type of dude, he'll take one to land one. And both these guys aren't going to be deterred from anything. This is going to be an absolute banger. I just think Durden has a few more tools to work with here. So the later the fight goes on, once, first round is going to be fucking nuts. The longer the fight goes, the more tired they get. That's when I think Durden can really start to work in that wrestling. And I think it's going to pay off later in the fight. Great fight. But I really like Durden in this spot. See Durden by decision.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, to be clear, I just don't like betting this fight. That's where I'm worried. This is gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be fun. But yeah, I hate it from a betting perspective. Alex, what do you think, man?
I like I like Van in this, to be honest. I don't know. They've been super active, both of these guys. You know, both of these guys have been so active. They're probably two of the most active lightweight. I have flyweights right now.
Other than Charles Johnson.
And that him too. So the durability of these guys is unbelievable. It's just I like the youth of Van here, and I like the power that he brings. I don't really think Durden's going to be able to survive a firefight with Van, and I think he's going to at least give him one opportunity here to land that shot. And I do think Cody's going to be winning this fight early. He might be even up one or two rounds, but I think eventually Van's going to catch him. And yeah, I think Van's going to put him away. Not super confident on this because Durden could slow this fight down, mix up the wrestling, stay in the clinch, waste a lot of clock. I could see that game plan here, and that's an easy victory for Durden, in my opinion. So I do like the no distance at minus 135. I think that's the way I'm going to lean because I see them both being able to get a finish. Just like Jared said, Durden's going to have a big BJJ advantage here. And if he does get it on the ground, we could easily see another sub by Durden. So I'm going to go with the no distance, but I am leaning Van to get the knockout.
Yeah, I like it. I feel like this goes the distance, but maybe if it does go the distance, it favors custom made. But we'll see, man. Yeah, it's an interesting fight for sure. Just a tough one to bet. Moving on up. I think I took that last one. Chris Weidman is taking on Eric Anders. And Jared, I'm curious to see what you think here, and then we'll go Alex, and then I'll wrap this up. But yeah, these guys were supposed to fight last time on UFC 309, I think. And Eric Anders got some food poisoning, and that was in New York. So Weidman probably is pissed off about that. But I'm curious what you guys think about this. We'll start with you, Jared.
Yeah, this is just one of these ones, kind of like the first fight. It's just a big who cares for me. You got to battle two pretty unreliable guys. When Weidman, when in his heyday, Weidman was a force to be reckoned with. Obviously, we all remember when he put out Anderson Silva, and fucking nobody saw that coming. But since then, it's gradually gone downhill. He has gone just kind of stagnant. But Eric Anders, I mean, this guy he's just unreliable, and I I remember I'm pretty sure we did a ladder bet on it, or maybe it was like a whale bet or something, but I had Eric Anders against Jamie Pickett, and he won, but he almost got fucking smoked on the way, right? I mean, a guy like Jamie Pickett, just unforgivable, absolutely banned from all bets. I will never have my money anywhere near this guy ever again. So Yeah, big who cares for me. Weidman by decision. Ryan's gone, so I'll go ahead and pass it to you, Alex.
I hate this fight too. Seems like a political fight, you know? Why wouldn't they give him another matchup, maybe a late notice matchup? But they're like, nah, we'll wait for Eric Anders to get better and we'll give you to him again. So I actually think Weidman might be the better wrestler here. And it's going to be Weidman, that 2 rounds of cardio versus Eric Anders against a tired Weidman in round 3. So definitely a fight I'm going to stay away from. Could be a live bet situation. Because what are odds now? Close to even? Yeah, about there. I think I would take a shot on Weidman, or about if he's up 2 rounds going into the third. And yeah, we'll see how it goes from there. Where is this card, by the way? Because he was supposed to. Is this in the? Oh, yeah, Vegas. That's right. Yeah. Too bad. And Weidman wanted to fight in New York too, but he has a bad record in New York, so maybe that's in my favor now. So his odds definitely went up in my opinion, just because he's not fighting in New York.
Well, I stepped away while you guys were doing your breakdown, so I have no idea who you picked. I like Anders in this spot. I don't know if you guys picked. Who did you
Both
guys
picked
pick? Just
Weidman.
both you guys picked Weidman?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Anders, I don't know if you guys mentioned this. He used to play football at the college level, fairly high at the college level.
Alex
Athletic
said he
dude.
played soccer.
What's that?
Alex said he played soccer.
It was football, like NF, like American football, not that pussy soccer. But yeah, dude, I mean, this guy, he's an athletic guy. I think, Weidman, it's just sitting so bad in my mouth the way that he beat Bruno Silva. I can't get over that. It should have been a DQ loss for him. He was in New Jersey there, I believe, so they weren't going to do that. But yeah, Anders, I mean, he's fighting decent guys. I mean, yeah, beating Jamie Pickett, that's whatever. Everyone should beat Jamie Pickett. Losing to Mark Andre, that's not great. Kyle Dawkins, he's beating bad guys. But as crazy as it sounds to say, I think Chris Weidman is on at his age right now at 40 years old. I think he would probably beat Kyle Dawkins as well because everyone does. But I just don't see Weidman as like this fast fucking badass wrestler anymore. I think the wrestling is fairly even. Weidman might have some better like outside leg trips than Anders would be expecting, and I think that might be the move for Weidman. But I would expect a lot of cage pushing. I think Anders is the stronger guy, and he might be able to take advantage of Weidman's maybe his timidity a little bit. I understand like he's getting more confidence with that leg and all this stuff, but I just don't think that Weidman is great anymore. And obviously neither is Anders, but I don't even think Weidman's good anymore. So I just can't back a dude that gets a 1-2 eye poke in his last fight against Bruno Silva. He isn't as good at wrestling anymore as he used to be. I think he went 1 for 4 in takedowns against Bruno Silva. And that's a bad look. So I don't know if that's the exact number, but I know that he shot more takedowns than he got against Bruno Silva. And then when he fought Uriah Hall, no, I'm sorry, Brad Tavares, he went 1 for 9 or something like that. And I know Brad Tavares has some crazy takedown defense, but I just don't see the takedowns really coming together for Weidman. I think Anders is better on the feet. And yeah, I just got to go Anders here. It's a catch weight at 195. I don't know if you guys mentioned that. But yeah, definitely a
I gotta
strange.
mention, I gotta mention how bad Eric Anders looked against Jamie Pickett when I laid hundreds of dollars on him at -500 as a parlay piece,
Yeah.
and he's getting knocked down in the first round, and I'm sweating. We could have easily lost that decision. I'll never bet Eric Anders again, ever. After that, I can't believe he
And
got it done. I was shocked.
Yeah, it's a tough spot. It's a tough spot to find a side. I just don't think Weidman is good. People have this idea of Chris Weidman in their head as the guy that beat Anderson Silva twice or whatever,
no,
right?
but the thing is, dude, you don't have to be that good to beat Eric Anders.
Sure you don't,
Like,
but you don't have to be very good to beat Chris Weidman either.
You gotta
yeah,
be.
exactly. That's why it's like, fuck this fight.
Did you say that? Because yeah, like I said, I stepped away, so I didn't see
Yes.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
This
yeah.
is
No, I say right at the bat, this fucking sucks.
This is not a confident pick on my part, by the way. This is just me saying, like, yeah, dude, I have no confidence in Chris Weidman. He's going to come out to Tom Petty. I love Tom Petty, probably my desert island artist. If I was ever fucking like only allowed to listen to one artist, it's Tom Petty, dude. Last DJ, fucking Saving Grace, all these songs from Tom Petty. But I can't let my emotions get involved here. And yeah, I think that Eric Anders is still more athletic than old man Chris Weidman here. It's only a 3-year age difference, but still, not a confident pick, but I'm going Anders, especially at dog money, which is, I think, where he will end up. So, I just stepped away, like I said. What are you guys' favorite vegetables? I just had some Brussels sprouts. Those are my favorite fucking vegetables. And I just got to tell you, I mean, you have some good Brussels sprouts. It's the shit. Jared, you got a favorite vegetable?
I've never had a good Brussels sprout.
Are
That's
you
so,
are you
that is
fucking kidding
such
me?
a weird favorite vegetable. That
Well,
is
you guys out
so
there in
fucking
fucking
strange.
Massachusetts probably just steam them. Out here, we air fry them with some honey and red pepper flakes, and they come out nice and crispy. Fire.
I fucking love asparagus.
Asparagus is nice.
That is my, especially when you're cutting weight, that's like my treat.
Yeah, that's a great answer to be honest.
Oh,
Asparagus is
I
probably
love
my
that
second
shit.
or third. Love that answer. Alex,
I gotta go with the broccoli. I'm a broccoli guy. A little butter, a little bit of garlic, fry them up.
that's my second or third
Steam
as
them a
well.
little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Brussels for me, and then it's a tie between asparagus and fucking broccoli, man. Probably broccoli a
Fair
little more than
enough.
asparagus. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, you just haven't had good Brussels sprouts, Jared.
I'm gonna have to give it another go. I'll cook it however you tell me to.
You have an air fryer?
Nope.
Oh, best $30 you can spend. You can cook anything in that fucking thing, and it'll taste good.
I'll give you my air fryer.
Yeah, dude. Cut some Brussels sprouts in half. Throw some olive oil, some honey, some red pepper flakes, a little garlic salt. Get a
Alex, bring
fucking
over when you come over on Saturday, bring the air fryer. We'll fucking whoop up some Brussels sprouts for fucking Ryan.
do it, dude. Do it with whatever the fuck else you guys are eating. You'll thank me later. All right, moving on to the next fight of the night. Randy Brown versus Brian Battle. Alex, why don't you take this one first, man? Interesting matchup between a very technical, kind of timid striker and just a wild fucking madman that'll never lose in a fist fight to a French dude in Brian Battle. So, what do you think about this one, Alex?
Well, he's not fighting a French dude this week, Easily Brown could win this fight. I do agree that he is the underdog because Brian has more paths to victory. He just showed in his last fight he could win this fight on the feet. He could wrestle Randy Brown. He has a lot of paths to victory. We could see him get a knockout. We could see him get a sub. We could see him win a decision and outpoint Randy. But Randy only has a couple paths. Get the knockout. Good luck knocking out this man with his granite chin. But it could happen. Or he could outpoint Battle like he's done so many times before to other, you know, good fighters in the UFC. He has a good track record. But I think Battle has a lot more to fight for in this fight. It's a big step up for him, and I think he's going to show out. Definitely not laying minus 250 here against Randy Brown. But if I were to bet on this, Randy Brown decision only. It's not a bad look. Brian Battle finish only is something I would lock in. So that's the way I would target this fight. But evidently, I'm going to go with Battle finds a submission in round 2. He gets Randy a little bit tired. Finally gets a takedown. Fights with him on the feet for round 1. Gets him comfortable. And then wrestles in round 2. A little sneak attack.
Okay. Yeah, I might have misheard you there. I thought that I heard you say Randy Brown was the favorite. I believe Battle definitely is. So I like I said, I might have misheard, but dude, I love Brian Battle here, man, and I am a fan. So I'm not gonna act like my emotions aren't coming in here. I'm not a fan of Randy Brown. I think that he thinks he's too good compared to where he's actually at. He's 4 years older. These guys are similar heights. The reach is the same as far as I'm concerned. If you got an inch advantage in reach, that's a half an inch on each arm. So that's not much. Randy Brown does like to use his reach to his advantage. Brian Battle will just go in there throwing hooks and going crazy. He doesn't move his head much. He'll take 4 or 5 punches to throw one. I just think that Brian Battle has the dog in him. He's got the aura to him. He's got everything going. But I would not be surprised if Randy Brown gets this done by a boring decision. But I don't think Brian Battle is capable of being in a boring fight. So yeah, give me Brian Battle. Give me a knockout in round 2 or round 3. I think it comes a little later unless Randy Brown pulls a rabbit out of his ass and tries to get a little crazy here and throw down in round 1. I just don't see it. So I think that Battle's going to have to deal with some technicality of Rude Boy here, and he's going to end up figuring out that range and do similar to what he did to Kevin Jusay. Kevin Jusay doesn't move his head, so that's one problem with him. Randy Brown does a lot of lateral movement. He's a good, technical fighter, but I think Brian Battle has a way of bringing the dog out in some of these guys, and I think early on Randy Brown's going to be fighting from behind. Um, and I think that Brian Battle will edge out that first round despite some figuring out, and then I think he'll put it on him in round 2 or 3. I'm leaning round 2 knockout for Battle here, so. Yeah, love this dude, man. The widest looking black dude you'll ever see, other than maybe like Sean Woodson, right? I mean, like that's like the
Yeah.
only other guy, but he looks like an alien, so you can't really put a finger on him. But yeah, Jared, what do you think about this one?
Good fight. I don't understand the line at all. I really don't. Brian Battles looks solid so far in the UFC, other than the Renat Fakhretdinov fight. That was bad. I think he landed 2 or 3 strikes the entire fight and just got completely wrestle fucked. He's looked great since then. I don't know if he's faced, well, he definitely hasn't faced a wrestling threat like that, so still
No.
not sure. But, he's a dude, he's got that dog in him. And for a guy that likes to brawl and get ugly, he has pretty clean striking. He's got solid power. He hasn't fought the strength of schedule that Randy Brown has, but this dude's willing to fight wherever it goes. Um, he's definitely seemed to improve the grappling. Not 100% sold on it, but really his last fight against Jusay, that really made me question his fight IQ of just like he spent the entire first round trying to clinch and take down a judo guy. I mean, you're spending 5 minutes hip to hip with the judo guy, and Jusay was trying to hit throws on him, and they would always just end up in a weird 50-50 and then back into a clinch. But it was like, why even bother him with that? Maybe he was just trying to show him a different look so he could put the hands on him in the second round. But weird approach. It made me question him a little bit. But Randy Brown, I mean, you know, the dude's long, he's got good movement, and he's got good feints. The way he fights very clean. He wants to keep you away, keep you at the end of his punches and his kicks. Battle wants to get in on you and scrap. But Brown wants a clean fight. I think Battle wants a dirty fight. I do think Brown has a higher level experience. I mean, the guy's had as many wins in the UFC as Battle has had fights in general. And I think he's got an underrated ground game too. He's solid there. He's very good defensively. I mean, Zaleski was. I mean, he had a choke pretty fucking damn close on him, and the dude really. You got to know what you're doing to get out of those situations, and I was real impressed by that. Uh, but honestly, dude, like if this fight becomes a brawl, of course that's Battle's best bet. But I mean, I really don't see anywhere that Brian Battle is skill for skill better than Randy Brown. I don't see one area I can point at and say Battle is better there. I'm taking Randy Brown here. I feel pretty decent about it at plus 200. Randy Brown by decision. I think it's his fight to lose. So show up, do what you know how to do, and I think he's better in battle anywhere.
Okay. I mean, you mentioned, Jared, that Brian Battle has good striking, but he kind of leaves his chin up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like he likes to get in there, throw bombs. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I was just waiting for one of you guys to call me out on the you know what I'm saying, because Brian Battle loves saying you know what I'm saying,
You know
but
what I'm
Went
saying?
over my head for a second, but that was good. That was clever.
neither one of you did it. I guess I should have done it 3 or 4 more times because yeah, this motherfucker said his nickname should be Brian. You know what I'm saying? Battle,
Nah,
but
that's Ricky Tercio's nickname.
I mean, both of them, they could battle. I'd love to see who actually says it more
Dude,
per minute.
Tercios had that one interview. It looked like he got dared to say, you know what I'm saying, after every sentence. Like it was that many times. It looked like it was a dare.
Dude, Brian Battle's interviews look the same, like post fight too. Like not like in the octagon, but after, like at the press conference. Dude, and even before the fights, like watch on Wednesday, like tomorrow, we're recording this on December 3rd on Tuesday, December 4th, you're gonna hear so many, you know what I'm saying, from Brian Battle. It's gonna blow your fucking mind. But yeah, man, it's it is an interesting fight, and I feel like a lot of people are going to be betting with their hearts here on Brian Battle because he just looks so good for America going over there in France and talking shit to the French. But Brown might be the smart pick here, and I'm going to have to probably do a little bit more research on this. I just am never too impressed with Randy Brown, man. I don't know why. He's getting a lot of decision wins lately, and I mean his last 3 of 4 wins are by decision. And obviously that submission loss to Jack Della Maddalena, that's a weird look because Jack Della Maddalena is a striker, but I think it was a club and sub, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a tough fight. This is Brian Battle's chance to, I believe, move into the rankings. I'm not 100% sure on that, but yeah, I think Battle's coming in here prepared, man, and I want to see him do good. But yeah, I might need to do more tape on this. Now, this next fight of the night, this is potentially your chance to go take a piss, refill your drink. If you're cooking food, make sure the food's not burning, whatever it is. And I actually really like Aljamain Sterling. A lot of people don't like him. I'm not a fan of Movsar Evloev, but these two are fighting each other. Movsar Evloev versus Aljamain Sterling. Like I said, one of my biggest bets that I ever cashed was Aljamain Sterling against TJ Dillashaw. Round 2 knockout is what I bet. TKO knockout DQ on DraftKings. Massive line for a favorite. I knew TJ Dillashaw hadn't fought in a while, and I'm sorry, Jared, because I know TJ Dillashaw is your favorite fighter somehow. But it's fine. We all have our favorite fighters. I still like
He,
Jamal Hill a lot, and he's
he
becoming
was my
very
favorite
fucking
fighter
cringe.
before, but it's funny. One of your biggest bets was against TJ Dillashaw because the biggest bet I've ever hit in my life was on Dillashaw.
Really? What was that?
It, it was against Sanhagen, and it was the biggest sweat I have. It was a 25-minute sweat. Just it was horrible. Like I wouldn't wish anyone to go through that. It was absolutely horrible.
Uh, Alex, scroll to those welterweight rankings because that's where those last guys are fighting, right? Welterweight.
Yeah, so he's not ranked, but I guarantee you that that fight is for a ranking next. But it's kind of shocking that Battle and Randy are not ranked.
Wow. So yeah, Vicente Luque is ranked at 14. So we have a potential for Themba Garimbo potentially later on to get a ranking spot if he should win. But yeah, I thought he was ranked 15. So yeah, I misspoke there. I'm sorry. No offense. But we'll move on here and we'll get into to this fight. Man, I wanted to start with this one because, like I said, it's a boring fight on paper, but it's an interesting matchup. Aljamain Sterling, I think, will be the bigger guy here. He's fought it, famously, obviously, the most consecutive bantamweight title defenses in history, moving up to featherweight. He's looked really good in featherweight. That last loss was to Sean O'Malley, and he moved up, just absolutely brutalized Calvin Cater, who I know Jared obviously likes, and Alex, you too. You made some good money and a glasses bet. That's why I'm wearing these stupid fucking sunglasses because Calvin Cater beat who? Who did Calvin Cater beat? Fucking Kyler.
You're thinking of Rob Font
Yeah.
against
Oh,
Kyler Phillips.
all you fucking New England people look the same. My bad. But yeah, dude. So what it was, this in this Calvin Cater fight. Calvin Cater's a big dude, right? And he goes in there and Sterling just dominates him. But Calvin Cater's not known for his ground game. He's a boxer. Potentially he's a kickboxer, but I would say he's more of a boxer.
Well, that's the way you beat Massachusetts fighters typically is wrestling them and BJJ. Well, I'll tell you one thing: Aljo was not going to strike with Cater, and
Right. I mean, who would?
yeah. But in hindsight, that was a boring fight, and I hope we don't see that kind of fight in this fight.
Oh,
But
we are.
I don't think so because I think Movsar is a little bit of a better wrestler than Aljo. In my opinion, I think we're going to see a lot of back
Well, I'm
Sterling.
taking this breakdown first, real quick. So let me just like throw out my opinion, then I'll kick it to you. I think that Mavzar is the better wrestler. To your point, he absolutely is the better wrestler. But Aljo is awkward on the feet. I think that he got pushed into that Sean O'Malley fight, and it was a weird situation for him. I think that on a full camp and when he was fully prepared, he could have beat Sean O'Malley, especially how we saw him perform against Marab. That was a whack performance against Marab. Some people, the dick riders of Sean O'Malley, say that he won that fight. He continues to say that he won that fight. But I don't know, man. I think that on the feet, Aljo is definitely better than Mavsar. The grappling is weird, and Mavsar fights close with everyone lately. I mean, he fights so close with his last few matches. We're talking Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen, without that, controversial strike in modern day MMA, like with the new rule set, which was just changed in like October, I think, or maybe earlier in November. Arnold Allen wins that fight against Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez arguably could have won that fight. Dan Ige, that was a close one as well. Hakeem Dawodu, that's not a good look to take that dude to decision. I know it was pretty dominant. And then Nick Lenz, never even fucking heard of this dude, to be honest. That was 3 years ago, of course, because Mavzar's not very active. So this is a close fight, man. And at plus 200, Aljamain Sterling, I think he's trying to make a run in this featherweight division. If anyone in this division could beat Evloev, it's either obviously Topuria or Sterling. I think that Volkanovski's a little bit out of his prime now, but that'd be an interesting fight. But man, it's hard, especially to see like what these lines might close at. If I can get Sterling at 2-1, I might be taking Sterling decision. I could even see a submission because gets in trouble because he's so confident in his wrestling. So give me Aljamain Sterling, man, especially if he's a 2-1 dog. I got to take that. Alex, you were
I
chomping at the bit there, stepping
you
on my
know
fucking breakdown. What do
you
you
made
got?
a good point, and after reconsidering, it's hard not to believe that anything close is gonna go to Aljo.
Right.
In my opinion, like he's older, he's trying to move into the top five. This is just like one of these previous situations we've seen multiple times over the past few weeks. And the older guys been winning, when they're trying to get into the rankings, when they're trying to, you know, get that title shot. So I might agree with you here. Aljamain is definitely a live dog, especially if it's a close decision. And we've seen a lot of those with Evloev. So you make up a lot of good points. I was really thinking about targeting like a double method, like Evloev, decision, Sterling, sub. But, this fight has split decision written all over it, and this will come down to the politics. I do think it should be actually a 5 rounder here. So it
Well,
makes
before you continue, Alex, how did the politics work out in this? Does Aljamain Sterling, the older guy that's like trying to be a potential double champ, or the undefeated fighter win this if it comes down to politics?
at the end of the day, they have the analytics, so they know the true answer. But it could be two things. Are they trying to build a name off of Sterling by feeding him the Evloev, or is it a trap? And they're actually trying to use the late stage career of Sterling to get some extra dollars. But then again, does Sterling really sell?
No.
Neither of these guys really sell, but one of them has a name, and one of them sells a little bit better than the other. So it could be either scenario. The odds are telling us that they're building up Evloev off of Sterling's name, but I'd consider betting Sterling by decision as well. I could see it going his way, and yeah, this is a tough one. I think the over is probably the smartest bet on this fight. And what is that even priced at?
It's
Minus
probably
three.
minus 300.
Yeah, so that's already smoked and juice.
Oh,
So
it's minus 385.
yeah, 325. I would have used that as a leg, but yeah, not really too much value unless you're taking Sterling here. I'm gonna take Evloev to win a decision, but this could get easily political don't want to be betting fights when you know it's going to a decision. These judges who get paid $500 to judge a fight are definitely incentivized to, take bribes.
Sure. So what was your pick? Evloev?
Decision.
Evloev decision. Jared, where you at here?
Yep. Alex, you're definitely right. Neither of these guys sell. That's why they're on the prelims, and fucking Bryce Mitchell's on the main card. But yeah, I mean, this is one of these ones where I'm just like, what is this line? Like, how is Aljo plus 200 here? This is if you could be generous towards Evloev, this should be an even odds fight. Like both guys minus 115. So Sterling's an auto bet for me. It could be one of these fights where the wrestling cancels out and we see him on the feet. If these two are on the feet for 3 rounds, I think it's a coin flip, whichever way it could go. If I think a fight's a coin flip and I'm getting offered 2-1, got to take the 2-1 every time. So uh, I'm not confident to say Evloev's better at wrestling than Aljo because Aljo is obviously that's what he does. I mean, it's not often you bet against an American wrestler against a Russian one, but here I am. So I'm gonna plant my flag on the Aljo hill. I'll take Aljo by decision. But then again, I don't know. This is one of these ones that, like you said, bathroom break, check on your food. I feel like this fight's getting made out to be a boring fight, and I'm just like, you know what? Well, yeah, watch there be a finish now that everyone's shitting on this fight. So, um, I'm still gonna say decision though, but I won't be shocked if Aljo could pull a finish here. But it's just like the last fight. I'm like, how is this dude plus 200? It's crazy, crazy disrespect towards Aljo in this fight.
Well, if you're talking about disrespect, I'm curious what you guys think about this. Jared, you can take this one first. Vicente Luque taking a massive step down in competition while Themba Garimbo is taking a massive step up on short notice, yet he's favored against Vicente Luque. I understand Vicente quit big time against Joaquin Buckley. I heard that he kind of took a kick that, it looked like he blocked, but he kind of like absorbed some of the damage of that kick before he quit against Buckley. And Buckley's a powerful dude. Themba Garimbo is pretty powerful as well, but the only dude that he's really sparking is Pete Rodriguez. Tucson's own Pete Rodriguez, by the way. That's my city. And Pete Rodriguez, we don't claim him as far as an MMA fighter. We claim Dominic Rodriguez. He went to Flowing Wells, which is a high school down the street from my old high school, Mountain View. But he claims fucking San Diego because he's embarrassed of Tucson. So, yeah, man, interesting matchup here, especially since Vicente was supposed to fight Nick Diaz, but it looks like Nick Diaz is going on some hard times right now. It's kind of weird what he's going through. It seemed like there was that picture that went around with him like lighting a fucking blade of grass on fire, and he looked very skinny. Hopefully that dude's okay because legend in the game of MMA, not just UFC. But what do you think about Luque versus The Rock's favorite fighter, Themba Garimbo? Jared?
I'm still not sold on this guy. I don't know what it's gonna take, but it's not Luque. Even if he walks through Luque, I'm still sitting here like I'm just not there yet with this guy. Um, but obviously, it seems like the UFC likes him, and here's his opportunity to break into the rankings. But like, yeah, like you're saying, a little bit disrespectful of line again to a real solid guy. So it's kind of tough because Luque obviously left a bad taste in everyone's mouth with that last fight. Even people speculating that he took a dive and shit. Uh, and it did look a little weird. But I mean, I don't know, man. If it was like 2021, I would feel so fucking good about taking Luque here. But just with like the weird recency shit, it's hard to get behind him. But I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just not sold on Garimbo. I don't think he's that good. I'm just not sold. And who knows? I could see him getting into the rankings here, but you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna take the vet. I'm siding with Luque. Can you fucking Luque call it decision? But actually, no. Fuck that. Luque sub round 2. Whatever.
That means you're confident.
I'm real confident with that round 2.
I mean, look at the guys that Themba Garimbo has beaten. He's 4-1 in his last 5. Nico Price took him to decision. Nico Price, yeah, he's a scrappy dude, but he's not great anymore. excuse me, Ramiz Brahimaj. Yeah, he looked good in his last fight. But Brahimaj, up until that last fight, everyone's like, dude, this guy is not UFC caliber. And then, obviously starching Pete Rodriguez, who is definitely not UFC caliber. And then Takashi Sato, who I can't even point him out. If you were to show me like, a few different Japanese dudes' faces, I wouldn't be able to tell you who this guy is, to be honest. So, he loses to AJ Fletcher, who's decent. He's not great, but I think Luque beats AJ Fletcher. If they were to fight, I'm not sure if they have fought. I don't think they have. Dude, I agree with everything you're saying, man. I just don't get it. I'm not a believer in Themba either. He definitely seems to have some kind of aura about him. That's the thing that everyone's talking about is the aura these days. I just don't see it, man. I don't see the Garimbo really the way to victory here. He could out wrestle Luque, but Luque looked really good against RDA, so much so that he beat him. So I think RDA beats fucking Garimbo. Give me Luque, man. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Just give me Luque. Give me him by decision. I don't think Garimbo gets finished. But yeah, Luque all day. I think it's a no-brainer pick, especially if these odds kind of widen a little bit. But yeah, Luque decision for me. Alex, what do you
This
got?
is this is
Oh,
one of these weird cards that you can really make a case for every single underdog on the card.
right. You could. I
But
mean,
yeah, I didn't
including
mean to
like the
step on
three
you,
big
Alex.
fights.
Well, that's why a lot of the lines are close. But I agree with you guys. I'm on the Luque side here, and the public agrees. That line came down from plus 175. I thought it was an auto bet up there. But now it's coming down to almost even odds. It's getting to that area where I almost want to stay away from it. You know, so I'd bet him now if you like him. I think it's going to get worse. I think if Vicente wrestles with Garimbo, I 100% see his path to victory being a submission. So I don't mind a double method because Garimbo could out grapple him. Even on the feet, that strength and durability that Garimbo has could shine to the judges. And we know Luque sometimes is a slow starter. So Garimbo by decision, Luque sub double method, not a bad look. But I'm 100% going to go Luque sub here. I think he can hang on the feet as long as he's, more prepared than his last outing. Not going to go huge because after, like Jared said, that last fight was very fishy. Him being a Kraus fighter in the past as well is fishy. So go light with this one because anything we don't know which Luque we're gonna see, and he's been declining, and it's hard betting against the new wave. Themba's gonna be motivated to get into the rankings, so I'm gonna go Luque sub or bust.
All right. Yeah, if this comes down to a pick 'em or if Garimbo ends up, opening as a dog on fight night, I wouldn't be opposed to taking Garimbo. But yeah, at these odds, man, I think it's Luque or nothing. Next fight of the night, Alex, this is yours, buddy. We have Anthony Smith versus Dominic Reyes. Another potential fight that you can just go and, take a piss, check on your food,
Definitely
refill your
don't take a
drink.
piss during this fight. Definitely don't take a piss during this fight. I don't think this fight's gonna be boring. You're gonna have Anthony Smith out there fighting for his life against a guy who's going to try to make a point against John Jones, to be honest. I think Ray's going to come out here, finish Anthony Smith, and he's gonna go on a little win streak. But I think this is his fight to win. This is his walkout party, I believe. And I think the only way he loses if he walks and jumps into a triangle while after Smith gets knocked down. That's the only vision I see of him losing in this fight. So I see that as a small chance. Give me Reyes. I'm using him as an anchor this week. I'm all over Reyes this week.
That's surprising that you're that confident in this kind of
Very
a low level fight. But Jared, what do you think?
It's funny, Alex. Like you're always confident on these fucking 1-800 gambler fights. I want nothing to do with this. You're fucking nuts. Um, I get it though. Line's fucking nuts. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Reyes decision. I don't care about this. I don't want to touch it. It's just like it's want nothing to do with it.
This is the easy money of the week, boys.
Yeah, it
Parlay
might
over
be.
everything.
It might be the easy money of the week, man. I just know that Dominic Reyes has an off button that Anthony Smith doesn't seem to have as much of, right? He's going to come in here, he's going to fight hard. Now, I can't stand Anthony Smith in the octagon. I love him outside of it. He's great on Michael Bisping's podcast. He's great behind the desk. He's a smart dude when he's not in there fighting. But I think when you have a record of 20 fucking losses and 37 wins, maybe your brain's going to deteriorate a little bit and you're going to have a little bit of a, you're going to have some issues. So, dude, I can't bet Dominic Reyes just because he knocked out Jacoby. I mean, Jacoby, let's be real, dude. That dude fucking is not good. He's not good.
Disagree.
I mean, I'll stick by what I'm saying here because I don't think he's very good at all. Look at Jacoby's last few fights, Alex. Let's see where he's at here. Since we got this pulled up, let's go to Jacoby. You're just gonna have to click on Reyes and then go to Jacoby there. Let's see what he's done his last few fights, last five. I mean, Alonzo Menafield, who just got fucked up. Kennedy and Zedriku, who we were just talking about, is not good. Azamat Mirzakhanov is solidly talented. Khalil Roundtree, solidly talented as well.
He easily could have
My bad,
been.
thought I was muted.
He easily could be 4-1 in his last five. Definitely Alonzo was close. He could have got that decision. Azamat was probably the only one that I would say he just screwed up and didn't have a good game plan. He kind of blew it in a round. But Khalil, that was his fight, 100%. You could say he won the Menafield fight, but boom, that's 3-2 in his last five. But
Yeah, we could say all these things, but that's not what it is. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's like it. That's like saying if your aunt had balls, she'd be your uncle. It's not. That's not the case. Like Dominic Reyes won against John Jones, but he lost, and then since then he's gotten knocked out 4 times. So with Jacoby, I just don't see the allure that people have for this guy because he hasn't done well in his last 5 fights. I can't get behind fucking Reyes at this price. Like I cannot. Um, really don't like how Anthony Smith fights. I think that he's got a fluke submission, and that's his way to win. But I think he can do that here. Um, Anthony Smith's a gamer. He's out there and he's willing to go out there and fight. I do not like his fight style. His delusion about his fighting career is wild because he's never rattled off more than like 2 or 3 wins at a time. But yeah, I got to go Anthony Smith at this price. Just have to. Dominic Reyes has an off button, and it's been found in 4 of his last 5 fights. Is Anthony Smith going to knock him out? I don't think so, but I think he could potentially hurt him. He could confuse him. People are too high on that fucking Jacoby win, and yeah, give me Smith. Do not like it. Not a place that I would tell people to bet, but at these odds, man, it's an obvious side for me. Moving on up. I'll take this one, man. Nate Landwehr versus Doo-Ho Choi. Doo-Ho Choi's the guy from South Korea that had to step away for a little while for his military career. Nate Landwehr, one of these guys, he gets hurt every single fight. He's in wars constantly. The guy's 36 years old. He's getting up there. It's going to be tough for him to continue to go through these wars, getting hurt, getting dropped, getting hurt like bad, bad, and then coming back and winning. Doo-Ho Choi, solid power. I think he could knock not late Nate Landwehr out. Um, it's so tough to go against Nate Landwehr, man. I love Nate Landwehr, just his personality, everything like that. His fighting style's great. He's got solid cardio, but I gotta side with Choi here, just because I think a lot of people are going to be on that Nate Landwehr side, and this is probably going to close fairly evenly. So yeah, give me Doo-Ho Choi. I think he's going to knock Nate Landwehr out in round 1 or 2. But give me round 1 knockout Choi in this spot. Alex, or I'm sorry, Jared. What do you think?
Damn, we're on the same page here. I'm on Choi. Fucking real confident pick, dude. I don't know if you touched on it, but I said it before. and I'll say it again. There's certain guys in the UFC that fans love. Obviously, Lammer's got a great personality too, but there's certain guys that fans love because they're tough as shit. And the only way people know that you're tough as shit is because they've seen you get the shit kicked out of you and continue to fight. Um,
Over and over again.
yeah, and it's like that's the kind of guy Landwehr is. I mean, he's a dog. He'll take one to land one, but it's like that doesn't change that I watch him get the shit beat out of him all the time. So like even in his victories, he loves to get banged up before he gets it done, or it's just or takes over.
It's
With
almost like he
Duho,
doesn't get started until he gets fucked up.
yeah, it's weird. It's like a weird thing. Like you almost don't want to fuck him up too bad so he doesn't get going. But Duho Choi is dude, the guy is fast, dynamic, and he has really, really good timing. I like Duho Choi a lot, man. And I don't know if you ever played the last UFC game, UFC 4. Duho Choi is like broken in that game. He is like obnoxiously good for no reason. But
Really?
yeah, I hope he does a video game like performance here. I think Landwehr is there to be hit. We've seen Choi get cracked before too, but you put yourself out there. You're there sometimes to get big shots landed on you. But I just think Choi's got a big speed advantage here, and I just think he's going to show a lot more different looks than just the brawl that Landwehr is looking to bring here. So, like Landwehr, big fan. I don't think this is his fight. So, picking yet another dog. Choi finds a knockout, hopefully early, because you don't want Landwehr to get going. So, I'm going to fucking bank on it happens in the first round, and if it doesn't, I'll be a little scared.
A little scared. Yeah, there's some wild shit going on in South Korea right now too. The leader, I don't know if they call him presidents or whatever, but the leader of South Korea just called martial law, saying that that North Korea was trying to infiltrate their government. So it would be a nice little win for South Korea to see Do-ho Choi, someone that served in the military over there, to get it done against the American. Which, yeah, I hate doing it. I hate picking him, but I got to do it. Alex, what do you think, man?
I agree with you guys in a lot of aspects because doing tape, if Lamweir stays on the feet, he should at least get outpointed, if not get cracked, knocked out. But he has the veterancy here. He's fought in M1 with a lot of tough guys, and the longer this fight goes, it gets into Landwehr's ballpark. To be honest, he's a 5 round fighter. And if this was a 5 rounder, I'd be laying the juice on him or I'd have my live bet ready. But you're absolutely right. He's the slow starter. He's not as fast as Do Ho Choi. But I can tell you one thing he does have is better cardio. He's the train. And I'm rooting for him. I want him to win. Which is why I don't want to bet this fight. I'm gonna bet against him, get sad when I lose if he wins, and I'm gonna get sad when I win my bet on Choi. But yeah, double method here isn't bad. Choi knockout, Landwehr decision. I think Choi could even win a decision himself. Risky fight, guys, but there's value on Choi. I think I'm gonna end up putting a bet on Choi, and I might arb out if Landwehr's down on the scorecards and is a dog at live odds. But yeah, doing tape, this was an easy pick. You got to go do Ho Choi. It just feels like a trap, I feel like he should be the favorite here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see what more people pick throughout the week. It might change my pick, but yeah, I mean, Jared laid it out perfectly. Like, you don't know that someone's tough until they've gotten the shit beat out of them, and multiple times. And at 36 years old, and it almost caught up with him. It did catch up with him in his second to last fight, but it almost caught up with him in his last fight too. So yeah, you just got to watch out. Obviously, Dan Ige hits hard as fuck in this division, but tough spot, tough spot. But yeah, we're all on Duho Choi. Next fight of the night, man. Bryce Mitchell, the Arkansas wrestler, taking on Kron Gracie. And this is a wild fight. The odds are nuts. I mean, absolutely crazy. I get it. Kron Gracie looked like such a bitch in his last fight against uh who was it, Jumpman or Air Jordan, right? That was a tough look. But Alex, I'm curious to see what you think about this one. A couple jujitsu nerds going at it. Who do you think wins?
Who's the better jiu-jitsu nerd?
I
Who
mean,
do we?
Gracie.
And is it gonna go there? I believe it is. So that plus 425 isn't gonna look like a plus 425 the second it gets to the ground. In my opinion, I don't think Bryce Mitchell's gonna come out and just try to strike with Gracie. I
For
think he's
15 minutes, right?
I think he's gonna challenge himself. I think he's gonna come out here. I think he's gonna challenge himself, and he's gonna grapple with Kron Gracie. And I think that winning in Gracie's element,
Wheelhouse.
yeah, exactly, will mean a lot to Bryce Mitchell. And I just don't think he's gonna show us the IQ. And I think a lot of people are gonna be shocked, like, why are you grappling with him? Why aren't you striking? You're a minus 600 favorite. Knock him out. And even on the feet, it could be pretty close. Kron's gonna keep walking forward as a punching bag. And we've seen Bryce get clipped before. Not like Gracie's going to hit like Josh Emmett, but he could cut up Bryce Mitchell. So I see a lot of value on Gracie. Just bagging on the fact that I think he's going to grapple with him. Like if Kron goes to his back and starts butt scooting, I feel like Bryce Mitchell's just going to jump into his guard. He's not going to ask him to stand up. So just bagging on that. I'm going to bag that Kron's the better BJJ practitioner. I'm going to bet Kron plus 425. I think that's the value. Or even a finish only. Like a finish only. Then if he does lose to a decision to Mitchell, you get your money back.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to add much to that, dude. I think that Bryce Mitchell cannot go 15 minutes without shooting a takedown. And I think that if he shoots a takedown once, it could be over for him. Gracie has an insane guillotine. Like he doesn't have these crazy submissions, like where he can get people in like a fucking like an omoplata or any of these weird shit fucking things, buggy chokes, none of these crazy things that you rarely see. But the guillotines, the rear nakeds, arm bars, whatever these basic submissions, Kron Gracie's really good at, and Jourdain was able to avoid those things because he is a dynamic striker, which Bryce Mitchell is not. He's a decent striker. At the UFC level, I'd say he's subpar as far as striking goes. His wrestling's great, but I think that he's going to try and test the wrestling against jiu-jitsu. And that's why Hamzat didn't want to wrestle Gilbert Burns because Gilbert Burns has great jiu-jitsu. So the wrestling against jiu-jitsu, I think jiu-jitsu in this spot could win. And I heard someone say, I forget who it was, you're going to see the difference in this fight between a purple belt in jiu-jitsu and a high level black belt in jiu-jitsu. And yeah, these odds are nuts. It's crazy that Bryce Mitchell, after getting one of the worst knockouts ever, is being on the wrong side of one of these worst knockouts ever,
You know how
is
this fight has
this
a
big
red
of a
flag?
favorite.
Look at this red flag. I got four different sports books right here. Four different lines for the same prop, and look how wide they are. Gracie
Yeah.
by sub is as low as plus 600 and as high as 1675. That's 1675. That's auto bet.
What's that MGM? What is that?
That is my bookie. I'm about to go put 100 on that.
Yeah, my bookie's sketchy though. Um, what's that plus 1200?
Same thing. DraftKings.
Okay. And plus 600 is what? FanDuel?
Betway.
Okay. Yeah, man. I think just the sub. I mean, just but the thing is, anyone that's betting on Gracie is going to take him by sub. So that is a red flag on the opposite side for me. So I don't know, Jared. What do you think about this?
I kind of like on this card, I was like picking and choosing which fights that I really wanted to look into because there was a lot that I just like was not interested in betting and yeah, this is one of those. I don't know. I just looked at this fight and I was like, gay. So I don't know. We'll see. But honestly, Alex, you made a lot of good points there. I mean, he's gonna probably pull guard. He is willing, that's his only path is that sub. And Bryce Mitchell, I mean, it's not like he's some good striker that's gonna keep standing him up so we can outclass him on the feet. It's like, dude, Bryce Mitchell's not shit on the feet. So yeah, he'll probably dive right into that guard. And as long as they're on the ground, It's a fucking dangerous game to play with this nerd. So nerd on nerd crime. Yeah, I'm gonna side with you, Alex. I'm like Gracie there. So Gracie by the obvious sub.
Yeah, it's a
Which would
scary
be
pick.
crazy too, because I think he would be in the rankings. Could we see that? Imagine the Gracie gets into the rankings. That
Well,
That'd
would
if
be
be
he's going to do it
fucked.
against anyone, it would be Bryce Mitchell, who has, I mean, not great fight IQ, you know?
but they have such a big name. That's why he's even getting the spot anyways. It's so political, like it's just a boost for their brand to
Yeah.
get him to the rankings too.
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting one. We get next up here we have Cyril Gahn versus Alexander Volkov. Volkov on Tapology ranked higher than Cyril Gahn in the heavyweight rankings, which is wild. I don't understand that. But Jared, I'm curious what you think about this fight first. You got a tiptoey, very fluid striker against fairly well-rounded guy, kind of a jack of all trades, master of none type dude in Volkov. But what do you think about this matchup, man?
Actually, do you want to click on the heavyweight worldwide rankings right there? I'm just curious because you know that no for God. Oh yeah, it doesn't matter. I just know they put guys from other promotions, so I want to see who they have above them.
Well, they have Volkov at number two.
Oh, I just showed them at 3. Yeah, now it's showing Gone at 6.
Well, no. So Volkov, I'm saying, is number three on his page, but now when when you actually show the real thing, it shows him at number two.
Well, yeah,
S-
no. The actual rankings is Gone's rank 2 in Volkov's rank 3 in the UFC rankings. But I was just curious who they had above him from another promotion. That's what
Well,
I
yeah,
got.
because the thing is that Cyril Gahn's stock fell a lot after that quit job that did against John Jones.
Yeah, yeah, that was weird.
So yeah,
But
it's nuts, but it's a rematch. So what do you think about it?
I think it's a good fight. The first fight, I mean, it wasn't one way traffic. It was a fairly close fight. When Volkov stays long, and he's got some real good kicks up the middle that are just like they're fucking stabby and they just look super annoying and hard to deal with. It's gonna obviously you can say this about any fight, but it's gonna come down to who fights their kind of fight. I just think Volkov, as long as he can stay long here, it's all him. Another fight that I'm like. I know Gon has a win over him, but I don't think it was one way traffic. It was a pretty fucking good fight. And, I gave it to Gon at the end, but it was competitive. So I don't know. Volkov plus 200 here. Another one of these ones, or I'm kind of like getting my hand forced. I might not bet this one, but for the sake of a pick, I'll take Volkov by decision. I just like the way he fights. And I'm going through all the Rocky movies again. So I got Rocky
Oh
4 coming
yeah,
up, Drago.
yeah.
Actually, hold up. Matter of fact, I just watched potentially the worst show I've ever watched in my life. It's on Netflix. It's called The Cage. Have you seen it?
No.
Worst show.
Well, the,
Worst.
the only the only reason I watched it is because John Jones had like posted that he was in some Netflix show. So I put it on. It's super weird. It's like definitely recorded in France and like has like English voiceovers and shit.
Ugh.
But there's like random UFC fighters in it. Like there's John Jones and GSP, and then there's like random fucking French fighters too, like Taylor
Cyril's in it.
Lapilus.
A bunch of French
Yeah,
fighters.
yeah, Cyril Gahn's in it and shit. And it was just weird because like the day after I watched Rocky, fucking I'm watching that stupid shit and Cyril Gahn's in it, and I was like, yeah, I got Drago fighting the dude that like weird. I just watched these two shows now these two characters are fighting, but
Weird.
yeah, very weird. But yeah, that show sucks, dude. It's fun if you have a few beers and you're trying to fucking goof on it, but if you want to watch a good show, don't watch it.
All right, I will not watch that. Yeah, I mean, dude, when they try and make these UFC like movies and shows, they turn out really bad. Like, remember that one with Paul Blart, the mall cop?
Oh, here comes the boom.
Yeah, dude. I mean, so bad. There's such good boxing movies. I mean, there's Creed. I mean, there's countless ones. Raging Bull. There's so many good boxing movies. And then you have fucking Here Comes the Boom for MMA. Like, UFC should
And dude,
actually
the
invest in a good movie.
Well,
the
at
training
the end,
shit there was filmed at Sityodtong, Boston too.
Oof.
Super weird.
Mr.
Yeah.
Kitty's touching the dollar sign.
Well, give us your pick here,
Nah,
Jared. What do you think?
Volkov by decision. I don't know. For some reason, rematches never seem to go the same way. So Volkov decision, and yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to bet it, but I think he has more of a chance in the line. The line's giving him.
Sure. Yeah, it's a wild line for a fight like this, especially with Volkov's resurgence. What do you think, Alex?
I like Gon here. I think he can win it every which way except for the grappling. I think Volkov has one way to win, and it's in the grappling or to catch him, with a big right hand. But I think Cyril Gane's just athletically more gifted than Volkov. He might not have as good of IQ as Volkov, but I think Volkov has to mix it up, get into the clinch, get some takedowns, and I think he could even get a finish here, in the grappling. But yeah, Cyril Gane by knockout or decision is the way that I'm going. I'm actually going to lean another decision. I think we see a repeater here.
Yeah, I'm with you, Alex. I think Gon wins this for no other reason. If you didn't want to go on anything, if you want to get your conspiracy brain involved here, it's to make John Jones look that good, right? John Jones, finished this guy in a minute and a half or whatever the fuck it was, 2 minutes and a half. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was early and it was quick. Volkov having this, insane 4-0 run in his last four fights, beating some dudes that he shouldn't have beaten. I mean, I thought that Pavlovich was going to knock this dude out, but Volkov fought very smart. He didn't shoot for a takedown at all against Pavlovich, which I thought that would be his method of victory there. But yeah, Gane, he's so light on his feet. He moves like a middleweight or something, which is saying a lot. And this is one of the most fit guys in this division. I think the only guys that Gane loses to is John Jones and Francis Ngannou until he maybe gets a little older, and then he starts losing to some guys like Volkov and whatnot. But yeah, give me Gane. I think he can dance around. I actually favor him by points here. I think he's just going to outpoint Volkov. He's going to make Volkov kind of shoot far from the outside, and he's going to, shuck those takedowns away. So yeah, give me Gane in the rare heavyweight decision in this spot because yeah, I think Volkov's kind of gotten a little bit lucky in his matchups, and I like Volkov. He seems like a good dude, and he's a great fighter and whatnot. But this Pavlovich fight, it was, so unexpected. That was with those old gloves, the old new gloves. Tai Tuivasa, I mean, that was a layup for him. Tai Tuivasa is highly overrated. Alexander Romanov, another one of these guys that is just not good at all. Um, he was dominant in his early performances, but now, at this UFC level, he's just not showing that he has what it takes. And then Rosenstrike, I think he's a talented striker, but if you're going to kickbox with somebody like Volkov, it's a tough thing. And Rosenstrike isn't as light on his feet as Gane is. So yeah, Gane all day here for me, but I am going to take that decision for him. So yeah, it's an interesting matchup, man. Great featured fight. This one, man, I'm super excited to hear what you guys think about. I do have to go take a piss, but Alex, run through what you're talking about and then maybe, kill a little bit of time so that I can actually hear what you have. If you guys just want to kind of banter about this for a little bit. This is a fascinating matchup, man. We rarely see two undefeated fighters go at it like this with Shavkat Rachmanov and Ian Gary. I'm never throwing the Machado in there. That's just cucking, in my opinion. How do you take your wife's last name? You can't do that. Am I wrong? Like, would either of you guys take your wife's last name?
Absolutely not.
Alex, you're
I'm
mute.
not gonna.
Absolutely not.
You can't
I'm not
do
gonna
it.
fucking rip on the guy for it though. Like whatever, you're a fag. Like live your life. But I mean, it's like
Well,
I
he's
don't know.
clearly not a fag. He's, got a kid with a woman. I mean, I guess you can be gay and
No, but
still have a
you
kid.
know what I mean. I don't mean a gay fag. I just mean a fag.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the big difference between a gay fag and a fag, as we know from South Park. But yeah, man, it's Ian Gary for me all day, yeah, as far as like the name goes. But I'm curious what you guys think. Maybe like just talk about some of the stats and stuff until I get back real quick, if you don't mind. Go ahead. Someone talk. This is audio.
No, we're waiting for you to leave because we're about to talk shit about you.
You can talk shit all you want, but go.
Wait till he takes the headphone out. All right, we're clear. Nah, but for real, are you with me that like this line is crazy, or are you just like
I know
all
what
on
it's
Shavkat?
telling me. It's telling me one thing, and it's telling me, please bet Ian Gary. Please. It's begging for action on Ian Gary, which tells me, I know all these parlays that people have been putting in for months have Shavkat as the last leg, you know?
Dude, the general consensus I've heard, like like from people in conversation, is that like everyone's just so happy that like Ian Gary's gonna get knocked the fuck out. Like,
I don't think that's happening. I don't think either of these guys are going to get a finish, but I think they'll have moments. I think Ian Gary in the clinch could hit him with some knees. I think Ian Gary with these new rules in the clinch, he's going to be a problem, especially since I think Shavkat's a little lanky and he's not as flexible and agile as Ian Gary.
what you think
But
Gary's gonna be better in the clinch?
absolutely, I really do. I really think Ian Gary, just because he's a little bit more limber. I was watching tape. You see how high he got those knees in the clinch? He was almost knocking out Jordan standing up. So with Shavkat hunched over against the against the fence, which I've seen him do a ton of times, he's gonna be wide open for those knees. So I honestly think this fight's gonna be wild. I think they're both gonna be. This is the true title fight right here. You
Dude, what
know?
I've seen fucking even before the UFC, I've seen fucking Shavkat have near death experiences.
Oh
Like
yeah,
like
absolutely.
almost every fight, dude,
Yeah,
right? He's like
absolutely. Both of these guys are gonna have a near death experience. And you know what? This is one of the 1-800 gambler fights on the card, in my opinion. I have one bet on this fight that I love, and it's the over 2.5 at -165. I'm literally just going to bet the durability of both of these guys, and I think that's what we're gonna see. I think we see a 5 rounder. It's gonna be super close. I could even see Gary winning the fight. I could see anything happen in this fight. I could see Shavkat win by knockout. I could see Ian Gary win by knockout. But what I truly see is a close fight, a close decision, a controversial one, and Shavkat's going to win. Just based on the politics of what I've said earlier on previous fights, he's the older guy. I guess they're both young, but who's closer to retirement? Shavkat. So typically you're going to want to give
neither
the.
one of these guys is close to retirement. They're
Well,
both
I'm
in
just
their
saying,
prime right now.
who's going to be here longer? And I think that's Gary. So anything close, they're going to want to use Shavkat. Who's more active? Gary. So they're anything close, they're going to want to give to Shavkat. They want to use that market. You know what I mean? They can always build Gary up again. And if it's a decision that's controversial, then it's not even a bad loss. But I do get what you're saying. There's a lot of people who aren't giving Gary credit. There's a lot of people who are tuning in to see Gary lose this fight, and he could easily win this fight. So there's value on him. Not knocking anyone who wants to put money on Gary, but I got to go with Shavkat wins a political decision here. What do you think?
Yeah,
Okay.
Ryan, before you came back, fucking Alex, I agree with what you were saying. Ryan is a fag.
Hey, not a gay fag though.
No, no, not a gay fag, just fag. Alex's words, not mine.
That's fine. I'll accept it. Did you give your pick?
Oh, no, I didn't. I thought you were about to start talking.
No,
Yeah, I'm
I
on
got nothing
Gary
to
here.
say. I just wanted you to sit there in that awkward moment.
I thought you were sitting there in an awkward moment. I was like, all right, he's just clamming up here.
I'll take it. I mean, you guys can't say nothing that hurts my feelings. I'm a straight white dude that's
No,
Christian.
and
You
I'm
can't
actually
hurt my
joking.
feelings.
No one said anything about you while you were gone. I was just
I
fucking with
know.
you
I
as
know.
soon as
I
you said
trust
that.
you guys.
But yeah, you're a fag. So
Let's
is
let
Gary.
the next person who speaks a fag. Go ahead. You didn't fucking fall for it. All right, let's go. Let's hear what you have to say.
Oh, I would, dude. I was as soon as you said, I'm like, I got fucking. Actually, it's getting late. All right. Yeah, I don't know how long I would have had there, but yeah, I'm going Gary. We were saying before, Shavkat has like a near death experience in every fight, and
Right.
if there's a gap on the feet, I favor Gary. I think he's a cleaner striker. I think Shavkat doesn't have a ton of head movement. He's there to be hit, and with a striker like Gary, I think he can find him. Any edge you got to give to Shavkat's probably on the ground, but where Gary's training now is shoot a box. I mean, you got to imagine he's working on it with high level people. So, yeah, Ian Gary, the value that's just where the value is for me. It's another one of these underdogs. I'm just like, this is This is too far of a gap in line when
One
it's
of them
not that
has
far
to
of a gap
hit.
in skill.
One of these big underdogs has to hit.
I think more than one of them. I'm fucking almost every fight. I'm sitting here like thinking the underdog is live. So yeah, Ian Gary by decision.
Okay. Um, yeah, man, I have a lot of thoughts on this fight, and I think it's such a good co-main event. I wish that the UFC would do this more often, like pit two undefeated prospects against each other much earlier in their careers, even because it's not like boxing. You don't have to have these guys go 64 and 0 to be world, household names or anything like that. Shavkat, I mean, obviously this dude's a beast. All of his fucking wins are by finished. They're basically split even, 50-50. I don't even know if it's exactly 50-50 right now, but it's pretty damn close between submission and knockout. Guy's never gone to decision. He has lost twice as an amateur to one guy. Both of his losses come by one guy as an amateur. Ian Gary, I don't think he ever fought as an amateur. He might have. Um, I, I wish that I knew that off the top of my head, but who do you think the UFC wants to win here? Who do you think the UFC wants to go farther? Kazakhstan, it has a population of 20 million people. Ireland only has about 5-6 million people. But Ireland has like a cult following because there's so many Irish Americans, there's so many European Americans. You don't have to be from Ireland to love Ireland, right? I know Alex knows exactly what I'm saying because this dude loves fucking Irish fighters, right? So you don't have to have any direct roots to Ireland to just love these fucking guys.
I gain the most if Ian Gary wins. I have a signed flag of his, so if
Well,
he
there
wins,
you
that
go.
flag goes up in value. So I'm honestly rooting for Ian Gary, but I just have a feeling it's not going to happen yet.
Oh,
Well,
is
who
Ian
speaks
Gary
English
signed
here?
Italian flag?
It's an Irish flag. I don't know how you
No,
confuse
I
all.
know. I just remember last time fucking Ryan was saying it looked red and not orange.
It did look red. I thought that was an Italian flag. I do remember that now. But yeah, dude, I mean, Ian Gary speaks English. He speaks fucking Brazilian fluently now because he spent so much goddamn time with the shoot the box fighters, right? And I think Ian Gary is who the UFC wants to win here. And Shavkat's such a beast. But if you watch him fight, he gets in trouble constantly. I mean, this dude's been rocked by just about everyone that he's fought, and there's no technicality. It's just like brute fighting, right? It's just brute strength. He's a fucking animal that eats horse meat. He's a fucking freak. He absolutely is. And I think he will be a future champion. But I think Ian Gary will be champion before that. To be clear, I don't think that either one of these guys beat Bilal Muhammad. I'm not a huge fan of Bilal Muhammad's fighting style. I think he's a good dude. I like him as a person. But Bilal Muhammad, his wrestling is so much more technical than both these guys. I think he beats both of them right now. A lot of people think that he was ducking Rachmanov because he was supposed to fight for the title against him. I don't believe that. I think he genuinely got hurt. With Ian Gary, man, he's so technical. Don't forget, these guys used to be training partners at, I believe it was Killcliff. And I don't know if either one of you guys mentioned that when I stepped away, but these guys were training partners. They used to spar each other. Ian Gary took this fight for no interim title, no nothing. There's probably a slight pay increase for both these guys because they're putting their undefeated records on the line and whatnot. It's a great fight. It's a big draw to this card. I would say more so than the main event. I think this is more talked about than the main event is on this card because the main event's a little wacky. Dude, I think Ian Gary at this price is an auto bet, as Alex says. Like, I don't see how you can take Shavkat because Ian Gary is confident in what he's doing. He's going to make this a boring fight. He's going to do what he has to do, and he's going to exploit Rachmanov's weaknesses. He's an intellectual fighter, Ian Gary is. He's not the most talented, I don't think. I think when it comes to raw talent, Shavkat is more talented. But Ian Gary is so fucking meticulous in what he does. And I think that he would not do this if it wasn't because of the fact that he basically just thinks that he can win. I don't think he gets a finish here. I think Shavkat will gas after 4 rounds, maybe even 3. And I think Ian Gary can push through and get this done, man. And I'm actually fairly confident in Gary. If we're gonna put like a confidence meter on this, I say Gary has like a 75% chance of winning this if it goes past round two. Um, it's a tough fight though, and I just don't see why Gary takes this. He's very particular about his career. He didn't want the title shot after, like they were saying, oh, this dude should fight for the title. He's like, no, I want three more fights before I fight for the title. I want to build my career properly because this guy wants to retire undefeated. Obviously, everyone wants to. Shavkat's in that position. He's got three more fights than Gary does. But I just don't see why Gary would take this fight if he didn't know that he could win it. You know, he's 3 years younger. He's the taller dude. Somehow he has less reach by 3 inches. That's where it becomes a little bit more pronounced. You know, 1.5 inches per arm. That could make a difference, but I think the better striker is Gary. Rachmanov's chances of winning here are on the ground, but as Jared mentioned, Gary's been working with the shoot the box guys, and they're very good with their jujitsu, even though shoot the box is literally just translated to kickbox, right? These guys are Muay Thai fighters, and I just don't see with everyone picking Shavkat here. I think Gary's being a little bit overlooked, and everyone hates him right now too. Everybody hates Ian Gary, but I think Ian Gary's the clear side here, and yeah, with the whole controversy with Conor McGregor and all this stuff, I think it's just prime time for somebody from Ireland to step in, continue doing that brash, fucking braggadocious talking, be an asshole, be the guy that everybody hates, and yeah, get in here and get this win as an underdog, and he's definitely gonna fight Bilal Muhammad after this if he wins. But yeah, give me Ian Gary, give me Ian Gary by decision.
Wow, we all like the decision though. We all like it. That's what I'm saying. The over is the bet here. Look at the statistics between teammates fighting each other. I can name some notable examples, like, Nagano, Gan. They typically last longer. It's typically not a finish. They have respect for each other. They know each other's styles, their tendencies, so they last a little bit longer. So I'm going with the over. I'm telling you that over 2.5 minus 165. That's my hammer this week.
The over 2.5. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you guys are both on Shavkat, yeah?
No, I picked Gary.
Oh, you did pick Gary. Okay. And you picked him by decision. Yeah, I could see a late finish by Gary just because I think Shavkat gasses. I really do. He's a big dude. He's definitely bigger than Gary.
I mean, what's the fight to go the distance line, Alex? You got it there handy because I'm just thinking even if Ian Gary doesn't win this fight, I think he would be the first one to go the distance with Shavkat. I mean, Jeff Neal was right fucking there.
Plus 200. How do you not take a shot on that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Gary, if that's plus 200, Gary money line is not even that much higher. I mean, I'd probably bet both. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, neither one of these guys have gone 25 minutes ever in their career, have they?
Right. So,
yeah, I know Shavkat has. Shavkat's gone 5 rounds. I'm pretty sure. Oh, well, he had a finish in the 5th round, I think, right?
Not in the UFC.
I sworn he's gone more than 3 rounds.
No, he finished Jeff Neal at like the bitter end of the 3rd round? Or was that a 5-rounder?
That was a 3-rounder.
That was a 3-rounder.
No,
I'm saying
but
before the UFC.
Shavkat's pro fights all finishes, right?
Yeah, he's got all finishes,
Yeah.
but I'm just wondering if he's ever even had the task of going 20 minutes even.
I mean, I'm sure in the gym he has, but
that's different.
It's different, yeah. It's a different pace, but I don't know, man. Like you see him fucking gassing kind of in 3-rounders, so who knows?
And dude, just to me, like the technicality of these two fighters is night and day different. Shavkat is a brute force fighter. He just goes in there. He doesn't care about getting hit. Ian Gary could put him out. It's nuts. It's not. I think that, I mean, if any fight on this card should be a pick 'em, it's this fight. But people are just hating on Ian Gary because of the fucking cucking shit that they talk about and all this wild stuff. That's all outside of the octagon, man. I gotta go Gary in this. Like, I think it's an obvious spot. The value's there. Am I parlaying him up with anybody? Obviously not. But no, man. It's a wild line, I think, for two great fighters. But you see the more flashy shit from Shavkat. Lately, Ian Gary's been very boring. And I think that that's what people are talking about. But the champion of this division is a very boring fighter too, and boring fighters win fights because they know what they want to do, and the fight IQ comes into play at a certain point here. So, unless you guys got anything to say, I think this is the most anticipated fight of this card, more so than the main event. But let's move on to it. Kai Asakura making his debut against the two-time champion, not two-time, but he's defended his belt twice after winning it against Brandon Moreno, Alexandre Pantoja, and yeah, Kai Asakura, man, fighting in Ryzen and doing some good work out there. He did three of his four losses come by knockout, but his last loss was by decision. Neither one of these guys have been knocked out or finished or anything since 2021. It's a great matchup. I think that, you know, like I said, Kai Kara France should have had this spot before Kai Asakura was brought in, but they're doing this for a reason. Jared, since you're not here every episode, why don't you take this first, man?
All right. Well, I'd say a good thing to note about Asakura. Is that how you say it? Asakura?
I think it's Asakura Kai is how his name is.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Asakura. No, let's go with Kai. That's way easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's worth noting the one dude that knocked him out, or maybe someone else did, but Horiguchi, he's out of American Top Team. So, he's training with Pantoja.
Yeah, they fought each other twice.
Did they? Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know a
Asakura
ton
beat
of. I
him the
haven't
first
gotten to
time.
do a ton of tape on this guy. I'm just like, I see he's 13-3 and rising, and obviously the UFC sees something in him. I watched a couple of his fights like last week, and the dude's just a scrapper. Like, I haven't seen him on the ground at all, other than on top of someone hitting him. But I mean, this dude is about a firefight. I mean, he wants to make this shit ugly. So I don't know. I would think if Pantoja just takes him down and does his thing, that'd be the way to go here. But yeah, I don't know. I got to do more tape on this fight, honestly. As of right now, I'm going to say I don't see a guy coming in fighting for a belt on his debut, winning the title. I think that's a bad look for the UFC. So I'm going to say Pantoja by sub round 4. I'm going to say I don't think this guy's going to win, but I think he's going to prove he belongs. And Pantoja's kind of lapped the division too, so it is kind of like they do need new blood. But yeah, I don't think he wins this fight, but I think it's going to set up a real good fight between him and Kai Kara France. A little Kai versus Kai action, but
Oh
yeah,
no,
I'll
man!
say
I gotta think that like he would fight like Brandon Moreno or Brandon Royval after this because Kai Kara France absolutely gets the next shot. I think.
yeah. I don't know. I'm not a matchmaker, but fucking
Well, I
I,
am in my head.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that does make the most sense, but what makes the most sense doesn't happen because if what makes the most sense happen, he'd be fighting for the title right now, not a guy making his debut.
Well, what makes the most sense doesn't happen, and that means Asakura is going to win this weekend. He's going to throw a wrench in everyone's plans, and he's going to build the market for the UFC because the UFC wouldn't have given him the shot unless they had a bias towards him, unless they wanted him to win. So I'm riding with the UFC plus 200. Let's go.
Yeah, it's nuts. Here, unshare your screen real quick. Let me share this image real fast, Alex. And yeah, dude, this is Asakura Kai's last fight. Do you guys see this screen of the skull here? You guys see that skull?
Yeah, I see that.
So I don't know if you guys have seen this, but this is in one of his fights more recently where he broke this dude's jaw on two separate occasions. That first shot broke the back right of his jaw. You can see it the if you're looking at it here, it's the back right of the jaw. You see that's fucking broken. And then another shot broke that front part.
It was
So
Juan Archuleta.
was that
Crazy
Juan
fuck.
Archuleta?
Yeah, crazy knee landed on him. I stayed up till like I'm pretty sure I remember staying up late for that fight, and I was like half asleep and just watched fucking.
Is that Juan
Well, not
Archuleta right there? I
no,
thought it was another Japanese dude.
no, that's not him. I thought it was. I would have thought it was the knee that did that to Archuleta. That fucking knee.
No, they were punches, man. Like
Jesus.
this dude's fucking breaking this dude's jaw on two separate occasions in one fight. And it's nuts that he's got that kind of power. Now, I don't know if you guys mentioned this. He's moving down from bantamweight to fight at flyweight. So he's got more power, you would think. And you can see when this dude gets up, the guy with the bleached hair here, I'm not sure who he was fighting, but it was a Ryzen fighter. And you can see that his jaw's fucked up when he gets up. And he wanted to continue fighting, but his jaw at this point is broken in two different places. And he just
Oh
gets back
yeah,
up and continues. But
savage.
that's what his skull looked like after this, man. And it's fucking nuts that someone can do that with their hands with gloves on. And again, this guy's moving down from bantamweight to flyweight for this. So that's another thing to take into consideration. Is he going to be, is he going to gas out quicker? Because I think that Asakura is live for a knockout in rounds 1 or 2. But I think the longer this fight goes, Pantoja takes over. I think the most realistic thing is a Pantoja finish, probably by sub in 3, 4, or 5. But man, that knockout is so live in rounds 1 or 2 for Asakura. So it's a nasty fight. That dude has nasty power, like absolutely insane power for this division. And he's going to be a player. He's going to continue. If he doesn't win the belt here, he's going to probably be ranked number 2 or 3 after this because he's going to beat, I think, Brandon Moreno or Brandon Royval. Um, but yeah, man, like what's the level of competition over there in Ryzen? It's not like the UFC. So I got to go Pantoja. Probably that later sub happens after Kai gets a little bit tired. And yeah, we'll go Pantoja sub round 3 or 4. But if you put a gun to my head, I'll say round 3. It's crazy, man. It's a wild fight. I didn't realize that dude had that much power because honestly, I don't know shit about him until this fight was called. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. But let's get into some extra bets here before we wrap up. Jared, I know you got a steamer and a whale. What do you got here?
Dude, all right. So I like so many fucking underdogs on this card. They're all dogs. I had to go through them and think which dog I am the most confident in. I'm gonna fucking bet a lot of the dogs that I said I'm gonna end up betting, but most confident dog on the card has to be Duho Choi. Right now he's like plus like 120 ish or plus 130 ish. I'm probably gonna get that in sooner than later. I feel like the earlier, smarter money is probably gonna be on his side, but I don't know. Could be some late action on Landwehr. Could see that too. But yeah, Choi whale bet, love it. And the steamer, it's a 3-teamer steamer, and this thing is fucking fat. Cody Durden, Aljamain Sterling, Ian Gary. That is plus 26.42. Putting $50 on it to get back 13.71.
Damn. Yeah, I like that.
I got a couple for you guys too. I'm hammering the over 2.5 in the Ian Gary Rachmanov fight. You can use the over 1.5 as a leg, but I'm gonna lay the extra juice, hit that over 2.5. I think it's gonna rise up, so get it in early if you like it. And as far as a punt, I gotta give out Gracie plus 1,600 by sub, plus 1,200 by sub. Gotta throw a little bit on that. That's my two plays currently. If you do want more picks, you know where to go. Link in the description.
Hey, we love that. Well, yeah, guys, if you want to watch this stuff, obviously, you guys are most likely hearing it here on Dangerous World Podcast. You can go over to Profit Picks on YouTube. You can watch all of us and our reactions to all of our dumb comments and stuff like that. Absolutely go over there and follow it. This guy puts out shorts. He does all kinds of things that, if you're an MMA fan, you just like watching fight content. It's a great place to be a subscriber to. So go over there and check out Profit Picks. If you want free picks, a lot of locks, a lot of, good look over there on the Teep Picks side. Go over there, follow Jared at Teep Picks on Instagram. Is it Teep underscore Picks? You're muted.
No, no underscore. We're original enough, so we just got it's just one word altogether.
Teep
Two
Picks.
separate words. Teep is its own word.
Right. I mean, I like it, but on Instagram it's one word, right? So
Yeah,
yeah.
but no space.
Okay, just type it in. Teep Picks. Teep Picks with a P. Can't emphasize that enough. But yeah, guys, really, really fun card coming up here. We got some big announcements to make for Jared's fighting career here coming up soon. It's going to be a great time. So keep locking into the channel and the podcast, obviously, Dangerous World Podcast. We give you all that conspiracy content that you're craving with the news show and all that good stuff. But until next time, guys, take care. Good luck if you're betting. And if you want to fade us, if you want to ride us, fucking, feel free to talk some shit, man. Like we're open to a conversation. We love having this stuff. Alex will get the last word here. What do you got, man?
Jared's got a fight coming up. Stay tuned. We're gonna have an announcement soon. Let's ride.